Hello and welcome to today's session of programming once again with Java and AI and everything locally. Today I want to change the pace a bit. Before I created an AI game, or I wanted to create one which had a lot of problems, but it was a big learning opportunity. And today I want to do the same, but I want to create an AI file searcher. So this should be in some ways a bit more simple and in other ways more complex. And I want to go through the whole concept of it with you right now. But to start it off, I did some work already. I created a Docker Compose file and set up the whole system so we can get to the interesting part right away. At least that's what I am hoping for. Great. I also set up my widget again. Maybe today it will work. We'll see. So let's go into what is already existing. So I named this one Quanta, which is the plural of quantum. I just thought it would be a cool name, and I generated this owl as a little mascot. But that's not really the important part. And I should put some white background there and not completely transparent, because in the dark theme this is not well visible. All right. The first thing I did was create a kind of architecture. I let this create with Mermaid, which is integrated into GitHub, which is pretty cool, and I never used it before. So if we take a look at the README, here you say Mermaid, and then you can create a diagram that you want to show. In this case, it's a flow chart, and it renders that natively in GitHub, which I found pretty cool, and you can zoom in and stuff like that. So maybe I will use more of this in the future, but right now that's where we are. All right, so at the front of it, there's a Next.js system, just very minimalistic. I have that set up. I created this with AI because I'm not a Next.js programmer, but it basically just has input line where it shows some results. So you type in maybe something about space or something like that, and then it should show the results. Right now, I don't think it's working. We'll look into that a bit later. But that's basically the concept of the Next.js. That's one Docker file and one Docker service. Then we have our backend powered by Quarkus this time, just because we want to change things up and not use Spring. And it shouldn't be that different to use, actually. We have REST endpoints with Quarkus and a service layer. And then we connect one time to the locally connected Ollama Docker container, which is a separate container. And then with the vector store, we use PostgreSQL with pgvector. That's an extension for Postgre, which gives us some interesting options to do. We'll get into that as well. So that's basically the concept. We have 4 containers: the front end, the back end, Ollama, and Postgre. And we'll use all of those. And basically what we want to do is the main part will be some kind of folder watcher, which monitors a specific folder I said compute file hash, but I think that's a bad idea because to compute this hash, you have to read the whole file, and in a big file system, that could be a problem and is very expensive. So I will actually just read out the last changed date. And then we store this with some metadata in the PostgreSQL, see if it changed or if it did not change. If nothing changed, then we don't do anything. If it did change, then we use our embedding model and store this embedded data in the embedding storage. And with a different flowchart that I did not draw yet, I should actually do that. Then with a different flow, we actually call the REST endpoint of the backend and then retrieve files according to the input of the front end. So whatever you type in there, maybe a space in this example, you should get some files that correspond with that word or with that sentence. That's the basic idea of what I want to do. All right. And I said I already did some work. And the main part of that is the Docker Compose file. So I have my services in here. First of all, the Ollama file, I pretty much copied that from my other project because it's basically the same, just with some different initializing script. I actually want to get embedding model to embed these vector data, data points, and also the Llama model, which creates creates some kind of query. But we'll see about that. I don't know if we'll need that or not right now. Okay, so that's the first Docker. The other one is the database, which has a PostgreSQL database. And as you can see, we also have a little initializing script here and a Docker file. I actually use Postgre 17 because with the latest version, which is 18, I had some problems with setting it up. I couldn't get into it, so I simply said, well, 17 is all right for me as well. And then I do some stuff to install actually this extension, the pgvector, which should work. I didn't try it yet, but it looks good to me. So yeah, and this is just a SQL script to activate pgvector once again. I'm actually not sure if this is the right thing. I think it should say pgvector. But like I said, we'll get into that later. So this is the second part of our Docker Compose file. The third part is actually the Quarkus server. Let's take this at last because I have to get into that a bit more. Let's take the fourth part, the front end, which also has a Docker file, and we actually map the port to 3001 because, funnily enough, Twitchit is using port 3000, and it had complications, and I couldn't change it in Twitchit, so I had to change it here, which was pretty fun. But if we look at the front end, there are a couple of files that had to be created in order to create a Next.js project. This is also a very minimalistic Docker file to create this Docker image. Exactly. So the fun thing is you don't need anything else, like I explained in the README all the way down. You don't need to install Java, you don't need to install npm or anything like that if you're not a developer. You simply say docker compose up, and it actually starts these Docker containers that compile the source code and then set up the actual Docker container, which then run. Which I find really cool because I'm a huge fan of Docker and the whole idea of containerizing and not installing anything else than Docker itself. And that's pretty cool, I think. All right, let's head to Quarkus here. Yeah, we have a couple of environment variables to connect to our database, to set the username, password, stuff like that. The course origins are pretty important. Otherwise, we can't call anything from a different location. So we have to set this for security reasons. I think the Ollama host is wrong. I just see that, but I'm not sure if this environment variable is even used. We'll have to look into that. But basically, this is the right one. It's the Ollama container, and we map this on this default port of Ollama. And then we have a volume mounted, which is the demo files, and it actually contains a couple of files. If we look into my Git repository, here we have the resources, and there we have the demo files, which contain 2 images, just some random space stuff, specification, specification of some random starship that I created with AI, about adaptive nanite armor, stuff like that. Great stuff. Okay. Yeah, we'll try to figure that out. And then my memoir, which also contains a memoir of some space citizen in the year 2289. I didn't read through it. It's we'll see how useful that is. Okay, so this is mounted into our backend because the backend will actually scan these files regularly. Okay. I think we have the structure covered now. If you have any questions, please feel free to write in the comments. Yeah. One more thing about this. The backend is actually, we will write it in IntelliJ. But as you can see here, it also builds all the Quarkus app, the jar file. It builds this in a separate Docker file, in a separate Docker container. And then when it's done, it copies the important files, the created files, the jar and the libs, stuff like that. And then it starts running this application in a different container. Again, I find this so very satisfying because we don't need to set up anything. Everything we need is specified in here to build this whole stuff, this whole system, and we simply have to call docker compose up and everything goes up in flames probably, but it should be booting. As you can see, I did something that makes the build run very long. I really don't know what I did to deserve this. Yeah, okay. So it really just took like 1,400 seconds to build this whole stuff. But it's quite good timing, so we can try this again. Searching through files, there's no result, probably because, yeah, we have some problems with the backend. Don't know why though. Okay. This is not reachable. It could be that actually I tried this here to make it a bit more secure, but I'm not sure. Maybe this is wrong. If we step into this backend, we have the application properties of Quarkus, and here I actually say, well, no matter the origins, you are allowed to call anything on here, any endpoint. And maybe this could be the problem. So I'm stopping all these services once again. Ollama always takes some time to stop. I don't know why this takes such a long time, but it always does. As you can see, I added this to Docker Compose up to let it build anew, because if I have changed any files, any source files, it will not recognize that as a change and then just set it up without building it anew, and we actually don't want that every time. But right now I do want this because I simply changed this line, and this will be recognized. So if we start the the backend of Quanta, we might see that it works now. It does not. Okay, I'll have to see about that later. That's quite all right, because where we will be headed is somewhere else. Again, I'm shutting this whole thing down. And as stated here as well, just because I can't remember it, is with scaling the backend to 0, we actually start up every service except the backend, because we actually want to run the backend here in our IntelliJ. And if we do that, we can actually see what's going on. Let's wait a couple of seconds again. So I actually don't know why it takes such a long time to start all that up every time. There's probably a faster way to start all of this, but still. Give me 1 second. Yeah, all right. Great. We are on the local host at 8080, so this is our Quarkus server. If we go to this one, we actually get the dev side, the dev UI exactly, and we can get a couple of cool things. I didn't get through all of this, but it gives us a pretty good overview over stuff that you can do and that we have implemented. But what we really will need is these 2 endpoints. So this is our Open API definition, and it's Swagger as a UI for that. So the great thing, I think I explained that before, but still, the great thing about this Swagger is you can simply try out the whole API with very simple tools. So you see, I don't have any authorization. That's not my focus right now. But if I send a string, I can also send something else there, then it will actually be executed here. And as you can see, I'll already get a few exceptions, but this has nothing to do with the actual request. We'll get to that later. But as you can see here, if we send this request, we get a code 200 response with nothing in it. So we get this this object in return, which is defined here, where it's actually a list of objects. At least it should be, I think. Oh, no. File summary, you get only one file, but search files, that gives you a list with one element, and this is just the test element. Yeah. So we can see that resource here. So this is the definition of these two endpoints that we have in our API. One is called search files, the other one is file summary. I don't think file summary is needed, but that was the idea. And search file right now just gives us a list of file metadata, which is now test and STTF. Which happens if you just type around on the keyboard. All right, so far I think that's all I did. Yeah, that's the structure still. And what I just started now is actually, where do we start? Let's start here. We have file metadata as an entity, which right now has only the path of the file and the last modified date as a long. And we have a repository for it, which is here implemented by Panaky. I never worked with that, but so far it looks pretty similar to the Spring repository pattern and JPA here. So let's see how that works, but it looks pretty solid and simple right about now. So we have that repository, which is great. And to all of that, we add our file watcher service. So this will be the heart of it all. This will look through the files. So we have a property here. Oh yeah, we did not define it here. We have a property, Quanta file system path, which I actually, if you're interested, I defined that in the environment variables in my run configuration so that I don't have to check in my absolute path into the Git repository. But this is used as the path to all the files. Then we start. Yeah, this is a scheduled task. I never worked with that as well in Quarkus, but it also looks pretty forward. So every 600 seconds, every 10 minutes, it starts again to look through all the files and walk through all these files of the root path. Oh yeah, which in this case is this demo files path. So it only checks these 4 files. And for each of those, it does the process files, which actually reads out the last modified time, 2 milliseconds, and then finds the path if it's already existing, the file, gets the timestamp, and then compares it if it is, 1 second. Yeah, if it's existing at all, so this is a new file, then it does save the metadata and calls the method onFileChanged. Else, if the timestamp is a different one than the read out one from the current file, then it is updated and then changed. updated, and then the on file changed is called again. And else nothing happens because the file is unchanged. The last modified date stays the same. Yeah, and these are exceptions just to catch and log them. Okay, pretty basic, pretty normal. And now we get to the more and more interesting part. If the file is changed, what do we want to do? For me, there are two things. I want to ingest this file. I want to extract all the text from the file and then embed it. So that means I create these vectors and store them in the database. That's one thing. And the other thing is the summarization of that document. So I want to read again all this text and then summarize it. And for that, the current structure is a bit wrong and it doesn't work. So there is a library called Tika from Apache. And it's supposed to extract text from files, from a lot of different sorts of files. Is it explained what files exactly? Tika examples. Yeah, but basically it should work like this to simply extract. You give in there a doc, for example, and then it passes this document as a string and returns it. And that's actually what I did, but for some reason it does not work for any of these files. So if we take a look at the exceptions, it always says here at this point, the text cannot be null or blank. And the content is always blank for all 4 of these files, which is a problem. And you know what I did not check is what's the latest update of Tika. Let's really check this quickly. Because what I find a lot is that these Apache libraries look really old, and they are probably very old, but if they are still maintained, it's perfectly fine. But also there are a lot of these Apache libraries that are not maintained anymore and they simply exist and you shouldn't use them anymore. But in this case, the latest version is on September 11th this year, so it should be up to date. So the problem is, why does it not work? Parsing using the Tika facade provides a number of very quick and easy ways to have your content parsed by Tika. And this is different parsing using the auto-detect parser. For more control, you can call the Tika parsers directly. Most likely, you'll want to start out using the auto-detect parser. So we can use this because it basically does the same. But we'll have to think about. We have to check it out. But first of all, for the summarizer, we also need the content. So I want to make a new service, and this is the text extractor service, and it is application scoped because we only need it once. And we want to, well, get a string as return. So that's basically what we want to have. This is the metadata input stream, and then we can have this. But actually, no, this is completely wrong. This is good. Can we have the parser parse something else? Maybe a file? No. So we need the input stream. I always forget get. I think we need a new file input stream, right? To file probably. Then this is not. Yeah. You do this. Opa. Nope. Yeah. Here we go. This is great. And then we have the stream, but yeah, it's edit. Come on. We got more than enough of this. Here we go. So, no? Okay. It's, yeah. All right. So this is it. Now this is according to the documentation, and what we want to have here is actually not ingest file, but like embed file. I think, no, embed file with content, and the content is then the string. This is, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Nope, that's wrong. We don't need the file for it, but I don't know if we don't need the file name. So I'll just leave that here. So we got that one. Embed with 1D, embedded is with 2. Okay. And then we call that embedding service. Yeah, select all, change that. And then the summarizer service summarizes the text, which is fine. Let's call it the content that summarizes the content of a document. Cool. Now we simply need to change this a bit. Yeah, hopefully with no catching anymore. So first of all, we need our service. Otherwise, we can't extract anything. Let's put this, how do we say, text extractor service. That's it. Now we have that. We let that inject because it's so very easy. We use this, extract from the file path, do this. This is great. This gives us the content. Then we can actually embed this. Embed file with content. We input this and the content. This is great as well. But it actually says it throws an exception, even though it does not anymore, which is great. But what we really want to see is what's the content here, because that's the part that did not work before. Great. And last of all, we want to have the summarizer summarize it. And then actually we want to put this in the database. Yeah, we want to have that content in the database. Summary, file summary. And then we actually update save metadata. Yeah, new file metadata. And we add private string summary. That's all there is to it. Well, let's do this as well. Nullable. Yes, this is actually nullable because it might be that the summary is not yet ready and therefore not filled. Okay, we create getter and setter for this, and then we also, yeah, we don't need this. We don't need this, but what we want to have here is the string summary. So it creates a new file metadata, does not load the existing one, which I find interesting. Let's keep it that way. I don't know if this is a good idea, to be honest. Yeah. So yeah, it's just the summary. We give that on. But what we have to do here is, if this is a new file, we actually set it to null for the first time. And then we actually, yeah, no, it's good, it's good. It is transactional, this method, which should be pretty cool because what it should do is it calls save metadata, but puts this in a transaction and does not yet save it. And then it calls on file changed and it will see, oh, well, there's no summary. I'll summarize that and save that after that. And they'll just one save call to the database should be made, which is cool. Great. Update metadata is still without the summary. Oh yeah, okay. This is actually the method that I want, because this looks for an existing file metadata, loads this, and then changes it, and that's actually the right way. But this isn't wrong at all. We just say explicitly, well, this is null in this case. Great. Now this does work, and again we say null here. Though, yeah, it works just like I said. And this time we can say, well, put it this way, yeah? Wonderful. That is just wonderful. And actually we could just leave that out because we'll do that here anyways. Yeah, let's remove it. Just because it doesn't make sense. It's always calling file summary. And this is interesting as well, what comes out of this, because I did not yet test Ollama with this service. So one thing to note, I have IntelliJ free community edition, and with Quarkus it is very much suggested that you should use the Ultimate Edition, because then you have that Quarkus profile. I think if we take a look in the plugins, that should be it, right? Yeah, Marketplace, and then we save the Quarkus stuff. This is included in the Ultimate Edition, which is a shame, really. I already tried that, and I made a huge mistake because I actually won the Ultimate Edition and I didn't, how do you say it? They gave me a code and I didn't put it in quick enough. I waited a month and then it was not valid anymore. But this is just a side note. Okay, again, I use the Quarkus dev command with my environment variables, and to debug I have to do one thing, and I think there's an easier way to do this, but I simply have to be very aware and wait for the debugging line. and then click this. Yeah, this one, attach debugger. Now it is attached, and this is just working like it should. And since the file watcher has a 10 seconds delay, maybe we should change that anyways. It will take some time, and then it starts. What do we have for content? This is the PDF file. I could understand that it does not extract any content from this, but I am pretty sure that it will not find any content in the MD file, and that's not acceptable because that's simply a TXT file. Let's move on. Yeah, okay, and then it does not move on because this is simply, yeah, null. I understand that, yet it should not throw an exception. So I want to change this. If the content, we have that strings, no, string is empty, right? That's some kind of Apache thing. Okay, if string is null or the content is blank or empty, then you simply return and do nothing. Instead of throwing an error, but still this will not work as well. Okay, but it does not work. Why? Let's ask our trusty friend ChatGTP. One thing, I want to commit this change because it is quite important, and I think quite all right anyways. I don't know about that one, so we'll leave that out. Restructured. Let's prefix that with backend restructured service architecture. Yeah. That is great. Yes. Now the text extractor. Let's copy all of this and ask ChatGPT. Okay. This always returns an empty string. Why? Parsing the file, it's that your body content handler is being created with the default constructor, which limits the output. No, that's not useful. I'm sure they would say that. Okay, other things to check. If you want metadata, you'd inspect the metadata object, but we don't stream close permanently, but since you're using try with resource correctly, that part is fine. I love try with resources and I always advertise using this, so good thing that ChatGPT recognized this. Maybe it also knows that I like this so much. But this is very strange because the body content handler is actually defined here, but it doesn't say anything about the -1. So that would be pretty stupid. That would be really not good. If we don't set this, then we have the write out content handler and write limit it. Yeah, that's completely fine. So this can't be the reason. I mean, this is fun and all, but one thing I would like to check out is we can simply read this as a file. Can't we just file path read to file and then read the whole file? There's a get file, no. I thought that there's a yes, it's a file and then files read. Here we go. Read string. That's what I meant. And we get a path. That's great. And simply check out what it is. Content. Yeah, don't care. Oh. Yeah, of course. No, not. Wrap it in a try catch, please. Thank you very much. Great, because that's, I'm interested in that. Maybe something is wrong with our mounting or anything like that. I don't think this would be very strange, but I can't rule it out. So let's put one foot ahead of us. I don't know, time after time. No, that's a different song. Great. So what do we have? The content? Oh no. It's thrown away. Right, okay. We don't have a logger. What is this? Log factory or something? Get factory. I always forget this, so I just copy it from different things. Info content. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. So this is not working at all. Interesting because what's going on now? Input length is 1. So it doesn't do anything anymore? Yeah. All right. What happens if we reset this? We attach the debugger once again. And we can actually put a debug point there. Should be very cool. Hello, content. So this is the just reading of the MD file, which is pretty cool. Okay, it's not that hard. Great. That's really great. Just to see, okay, we can read the file. For some reason, Tika is not working like it should. The handler. Can we read anything out of that? No. We have metadata. And we have the empty parser, which, if you think about it, should be just something empty. And that's not what we want at all. What I realized just now is maybe we don't have the right dependencies in there. So let's see. Download. We can download a lot of stuff. I don't know what we need. Let's ask ChatGPT once again. I want to use Apache Tika to extract a string from different files in a Quarkus project. What dependencies do I need to include in my POM? Because let's see what I did include so far. Let's stop all of this. Is the Tika core and Tika parsers. Parsers, I imagine, would be the right thing, but it's only the POM, so maybe that's where I went wrong. Standard package, hello. Yes, if you want all available parsers, have your dependency tree, you can swap to this. Let's not do it. Let's stay with this standard package, PDF, docx, HTML. That sounds pretty cool to me. So let's put it this way. Do we need the Tika version here if we already have the POM there? I don't think so. Let's see. We should be able to see the tree, right? Analyze dependencies, something. Yeah, that's it. Okay. It doesn't show a lot. Nothing found. Well, I think we have some dependency, to be honest. I think we do. But it could be that it's just riddled with errors right now, and therefore does not work. If we start it, does it give us any errors? No. Because, again, IntelliJ is often telling us stuff that does not work, and in reality it does work. Like this, I'm sure it works. I don't know why it complains, so give us this. Yeah. See. Maybe that's the other fun thing, is that ChatGPT is just hallucinating, and that happens too many times as well. Parses standard package, and that is Tika parses standard. So these are two different things. Have to see what the right thing is. 2, 3. Okay. It could be both. It could be both. But this is again a POM. Okay. Let's use this one, the newest version. And hopefully we already have that anyways. This is the right one. And the version is, yeah, the right one. Okay. Cool. Cool. I don't think we need this anymore. It doesn't look like it works. See? So we already advanced pretty far at this point, and that's quite all right. What I would like to finish is this text extraction part today, and then maybe set a connection to Ollama. And I think the whole vectorization area is part of another video, another session. I don't know why this is so very slow. I could imagine that I downloaded quite a bit every time I built, and so my IP address got limited by Maven Central. That could be a very real problem. But let's see. It does work. It does download stuff. And most dependencies are not that huge. Yeah, but this is a real problem. So every time I build this there, the whole Quarkus project, it downloads the whole Maven part. It does not cache anything, and I think that could be a real problem. I could circumvent that if I just map in my local Maven repository. That could work. But again, I don't know if that then works on every machine. So it's not that great of a solution for me. Anyways, let's attach the debugger here and then wait for magic to happen. Very nice. The local host is listening on 8080. And now we have a couple of red things. Don't know why this is that. And now, what kind of handler do we have here? Oh yes, this does now do this. Why is this not available? Did it kill itself? Error. Yeah, so this is fine, guys. Oh, okay. Okay. Ah, yes. The handler. Let's see. Handler. To text content handler. That sounds way better than before. And we have some content. Wonderful. So actually we're missing a bunch of stuff. Where's this coming from now? Yeah, all right. That's fine. Just don't know if it still works. But it could. This is the console. This is this console. There should be, yeah, this is the whole MD file. And then we have problems while logging. This is all fine. All right. Let's put this here. We don't need to read the file anymore. Why this is not working? Maybe we just need to reload the whole Maven stuff. Yeah, here we go. This is very nice. Cool. So this is, yeah, we can discard of that. Right. 10,000. Let's leave it in. 10,000 characters is not too much. Okay, this just reformatted some stuff. Standard Tika parses. Prefix with backend. And we are good to go. Great. Now we extracted that. That was actually the real easy part. The tricky part will be this. And I don't know if that works or not. Yeah, let's try it again. I don't know if it came to that or if there was a problem logging before. Let's see. We actually, no, we did not connect yet. Oh no, I forgot to click it. And here we go. When we are waiting anyways, so I think there is some way to add debug. Show the run debug tool when started. Skip tests. There is a way. Open. There is some way to latch onto that debugger automatically, but I don't see where that goes now. All right, extracting from files. We expect it to work right now. So this is fine. We are here. The content is finally filled. This time with the PDF, which is great. This is quite cool because this is not just the info, the text info of the file, but it's really something extracted from the PDF. This is quite cool. This is actually what is good about this Tika. But I really want to have it here. And now we are getting to the embedding part. And we don't get any error. That would be strange. I demand an error. File watcher, yes, no. On file changed, yes, yes, yes. Give me that error. Progress. Is this the right error message? Yes, here we have the error message. The host is not known. Oh, this is German. Yeah, so the host is not known, Ollama Quanta. I don't understand this because if we look here, we actually have that container right there and the port is mapped here to the local host. So maybe we should just say local host for now. What's going on now? Oh yeah. Of course, it opens that in the other thing. Okay. We can actually fix this really simple by simply choosing, we do that with the database as well here. So we do this with that as well. And that's pretty cool as well because we are setting this up for the local host, but in our production environment, we are then replacing that data source and this Ollama base URL with the actual Docker container. Pretty cool. Yeah, so this was it. Let's see what kind of error message we get now. So there are actually two things that are connected to. One thing is the embedding model, which is Ollama. It's run in Ollama, and the other thing is the pgvector embedding store, which is in the Postgre. So what? Something is going on. It's downloading. Why is it downloading? That's really interesting. The dev services. I explicitly set off these damn dev services because for some reason, what is this? Okay, I don't want this to download. Okay. This is very annoying. I understand that this is not working in my Ollama container, right? Pull. I think that's just now. So okay, it could be that it really set up the downloading of Llama 3.2 RP pull. But why does it lock this? Okay, to explain that. Quarkus Dev Services that's some mechanism that if you start your system in a dev environment like this, Quarkus actually starts some test containers. Oh yes, we can see that very easily here. And then sets up something with them, but I don't want this, so I disabled it, and it really did stop starting these test containers. But just now I thought it did that again. I'm not sure. Let's see if there is any container popping up. Okay. It actually looks quite good. So maybe it's really just, yeah. Okay, it's downloading. Oh, Llama 3.2. So then my question is, why does it download Llama 3.2? Because if we take a look at the initialize file of our Ollama, we have our init file, and it should be pulling this version off right away. For some reason it does not. But okay, we can wait a couple of seconds, I think. Is it the same? Maybe it's a different model? Because it states Llama 3.2. Does it say what version it loads? Pod 8 stalled retrying. Interesting. But maybe in the logs, these are logs from all over the place. Maybe in these logs it says what kind of Llama it already has. Can we search it? Ah, okay. It doesn't say that at all. Wow, great. Could not connect to it? Yeah. Starting Ollama server. So if, whoa, we are still at 28%. Oh, this is taking too long, damn it. I thought it would be faster, but then again, I don't know what kind of Llama 3.2 it does download. Maybe it's the wrong one. If we take a look here, it says pulling the models after Ollama is ready. And I don't know. Yes, pulling the models. Pull. So this is this should be fine. It did pull the models. Why does it pull the models once again? Yeah. I think we have to stop for today. It really takes too much time, and I don't understand why it will take a lot of space. Hey, one more thing I want to see. In the Ollama, we have the data mounted. We have the models. Can we see something here? There is this huge file. Yeah, these partials. So it's definitely downloading something huge, not the one we want. And why does it load this one? This is the real question. So this is this one, and the other one is not even there yet. So it probably will register after it downloaded it completely. So I stop this now. For some reason, it gets Llama 3.2 right, but not with 1 billion parameters. And that's just bad. That's just bad. Yeah, it doesn't. Maybe this is some kind of default, and it downloads the first default one. I'm not sure. I will check this out after my session. But for right now, it looks pretty cool. I'm really happy with this. Yeah, let's update this to localhost. We can extract data, and we have the whole project set up. The one little thing we have to include now is the AI, which is the crucial thing. But we'll get through it. I actually set up the dbeaver to that gives us possibility to look inside the database. Why is it not possible? Oh, there are already embeddings. Okay, 1 second. I have to check this out. Why? And what's the error here? We don't have any error. We just don't have any entries. Okay, that's fine. But we have the embeddings table, and that's pretty cool because we did not define it. That's something magical that Quarkus did. Really cool. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. For me, it was really interesting to see all this come together, and it looks like a really good project to me, at least. If you like it, please like and comment if you have some good tips about how to use the vectorization. That will be the next part. And for everybody else who's at IBM Exchange right now in the USA at JCon, I wish you much fun. And for everybody else, please join me next week, hopefully again, to continue this. And thank you so much for watching. See you next time.